January 6, 2023 marks a 2-year anniversary. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms, and the 2-year anniversary I'm referring to is the insurrection that took place at the Capitol in 2021 while Congress was going to certify the election of President Biden. Okay, so on that particular day, House and Senate are there. Vice President Pence is there because as president of the Senate, it's his job to sign off on whatever takes place. And as you expected, might expect, President Trump at the time was not happy. He was not happy that he lost. And he was not happy because he wasn't getting the support he insisted he deserved from other Republican leadership. So in the meantime, he tries to convince Vice President Pence to not sign off on the election. And to his credit, Vice President Pence says, dude, can't do that, sorry. And then President Trump is speaking to a crowd, and at this point it's just a crowd of supporters. And, essentially what he says is, I'm not you, but, if I were you, I'd go and do what's right at the Capitol. And, sum and substance is he incited a riot. And he goes, guys, I'll be right behind you. And then goes to the White House to sit back, relax, and watch what happens. Now, do you have the right to free assembly? Yeah, you do. Do you have the right to protest? Of course. What you don't have the right to do is bring weapons onto government grounds or government buildings. Those are felonies. And there were people there that had firearms. So right away you have some people who are carrying guns for reasons that we may never find out. I'd like to think that they were just stupid enough to think they might defend their break-in of Congress. I have no clue. But in the meantime, you had some bad guys carrying things they shouldn't have been. You had guys who had stowed extra guns and ammunition in vehicles they parked nearby. So maybe they figured you need some additional firepower while at a protest. Then some people break in. And I want you to keep in mind that the majority of the people there were protesters. It was their right to protest. They weren't happy and were letting people know. However, when you break into the building, you've just upped it to a new level. Did everyone run into the building? No. But a bunch of people did. They started, ransacking some offices and stuff like that. And including one absolute bonehead who, and I think it was Nancy Pelosi's office, he's sitting at her desk taking a selfie of him involved in a felony. So, it makes it easy for the police. Hey, look what I posted on Facebook. But in the meantime, more police are called in. And when the dust settles, 7 people are dead, including a police officer. About 150 police officers are injured. I don't have any information on how many protesters were injured, and I bet we never will because a lot of them ran, and that was smart. Just get out of Dodge. And the deaths didn't end. Over the next several days, a couple of police officers that were there killed themselves. Several months later, a couple of more did. These were all officers that were at the scene. Now, was it resulting from injuries that they suffered there? The answer is it's possible. But I also think it's equally possible that they were so bothered about an American having to fight an American in the U.S. Capitol that maybe it just kind of pushed them over the edge. I don't know. I can't speak about them other than you had all these people injured and one guy dead doing their job. And the people that were orchestrating or pulling the strings on the protest really had no compunctions about hurting people. So at this point, Congress has been sequestered, and I think Nancy Pelosi and some of the other Congress leaders are trying to get people to come in, like National Guard and all that stuff. But you had people terrorized by Americans in America. Now, to put this in a slightly different bent, our country and the laws that help run it make us pretty resilient to stuff. So, did we survive the insurrection? Yes, we did. And that says something about us. Did the revolutionaries in Revolutionary War take huge risks, and were they doing armed insurrection? Yes, they were. But in that particular case, if we had lost the Revolutionary War and the British maintained all of us as colonials, they would have hanged the people that were responsible for it. So I don't know what everyone was thinking at that particular point in time while they were at the protest. However, there are some other issues that I want to kind of slide over into, because I think some of that has to do with how we got where we are now, or what got us to the point of that insurrection. And, I hope you'll bear with me, because I think it kind of sort of makes sense, and maybe it only makes sense to me, but you never know. Okay, so 2021. Donald Trump, Republican president, and a whole slew of Republican supporters do not believe it was a fair election. They're claiming that it was a conspiracy of some type or multiple types, and President Trump really won the election. I'm not sure what kind of Kool-Aid they were drinking, but, that's just my cynical sense of humor there. Did they have a right to disagree with it? Yes, they did. And everyone else is going, look at those crazy Republicans. They're dumb. They don't know how, he lost the election. Deal with it. Go back 4 more years. Hillary Clinton loses the election to Donald Trump, and we have Democrats out in the street attacking people wearing Trump wear, like the MAGA hats and shirts, demanding that they redo the election, only they do it on popular vote and not the electoral vote. And, I guess there's arguments on both sides for that. But either way, if you look at this, I didn't get my way, I'm happy. That makes you dumb. You don't agree with me, you're dumb. Well, it's a pretty dumb way to think about it. One of the neat things is, being humans and being intelligent, we get to talk to each other. And you might not agree with me. I might not agree with you. But most of the time, I can respect the position you're coming from. I still may not agree with it, but I understand why you're taking that stance. And vice versa. That's the kind of stuff that actually is what made this country great. The debates, the discussions, or the heated discussions. Think about these huge Supreme Court justice decisions. The justices going at each other in writing, verbally, whatever. I think it's that diversity is what actually makes us great. Because that's the kind of stuff that you get to sit back and look at. Wow. A Democrat and a Republican came up with this, or a liberal and a conservative came up with that. But it took discussion, and it took debate. And in the last 2 elections, I've basically seen people take the stance that you don't agree with me, you're stupid. You're a Republican, you're bad. You're a Democrat, you're dumb. The reality is that's not the case. We all have different perspectives. Are there people that are conspiracy theorists? Yeah, there are. Are there people that are paranoid? Yes, there are. Are there people that can look at multiple viewpoints? Yes, there are. That's all of us. And I don't think either of these last two elections made us look particularly good as a population. It would have been much easier for the leadership at the end of the elections to say, hey, congratulations, you win. Or, you won the election, but here's why I'm not happy about it. I think what we've just turned into is a bunch of kids in a shouting match. And I know that I've taken this long-winded approach to get here, and I know that there are several people, including friends of mine, that will completely disagree with everything I've said. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. That's their right. I mean, in a perfect world, everyone would agree with me. But that's a pretty pig-headed way to look at it. So, my statement to the people that liked what I had to say is, by all means, I look forward to your comments. For people that think I have just done a huge disservice and refuse to listen to any more of my podcasts, I understand, but I feel bad for you if that's the case. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms in Snow Camp, North Carolina. You can call or text to 919-808-6480. You can email to info@quarterhorsearms.com, and the website is quarterhorsearms.com. Thanks for your indulgence in listening to my rant, and I hope you have a great day.